We're back with another week of football, and DraftKings Sportsbook is keeping us in on all the NFL action. Great offers every single game. New customers can bet $5 and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Throw 5 down on any of the week's epic matchups. Walk away an instant winner. DraftKings is not stopping there. All customers take advantage of 2 new offers every game this September. Football's more fun when you're in the action, no question about it. Download the app now. Sign up code Colin, that's me, Colin. New customers bet just $5 and get $200 instantly in bonus bets only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL with the code Colin. The crown is yours. Hi, everybody, and welcome in. Sharp or Square with Chad Millman. A lot of games to discuss. I give him my 6 or 7 that interest me, that he gives me a couple I haven't thought about, and we'll get into that. As I was watching the game tonight, obviously Saquon Barkley's out. Andrew Thomas, left tackle, is out for the Giants. Brandon Ayuk, star receiver, was out for San Francisco, but I mean, this was a 10.5 point spread. It is interesting, and I don't want to do recency bias, right, and be a victim of that. But so this game was 10.5. Houston at the Jags. Jags favored by 9.5. Dallas at Arizona. Dallas favored by 12.5. Chicago at Kansas City. Kansas City favored by 12.5. Those are like college numbers, and I think there's always been double-digit spreads, but for double-digit spreads this early in a season, it shows you the gap in quarterback play and the significance of quarterback play. Trevor Lawrence against C.J. Stroud, Dak Prescott against Josh Dobbs, Justin Fields against Patrick Mahomes. So, and I think that's just where the league is. I had said this years ago. My only concern about the NFL, once they cleaned up the hitting because of the CTE, the $900 million or so check the NFL wrote, they cleaned it up. We have concussion concerns, but it's the safest the sport has been in my life. Also, the practices, there's less hitting, fewer players, star players play in the preseason. I think they're going to cut the preseason season down to, I think they're going to cut the preseason down to 2 games. And so, if you generally look at the end of the year, the final 4 teams, they're overwhelmingly healthy. Very few players are lost for the season, though it happens. Trayvon Diggs for the Cowboys at practice. That's just a gutting loss for Dallas. But as a sport becomes more quarterback centric, you're going to have these wider gaps in point spreads. But one of the things I was thinking about this today driving home from work is that, the NFL has certain advantages on other sports. Let's take baseball. Well, there's 162 baseball games, 17 football games. So there's always been an urgency advantage to the NFL. But as we're a more distracted country, why has the gap in baseball and football, the ratings and interest, why is it so great now? And I think a lot of it is, and I've noticed this in terms of consumption, people tend to read headlines. They don't read entire stories. We're less patient because of our iPhones. We want things immediately. We want big headlines, big stars, big brands, and people just don't have the patience. And you have to have patience to watch baseball. And I think we're a less patient nation. But I also think the reality is the NFL has always thought of itself as a football show and a TV show. And baseball, I'll give you an example. In analytics, if you can get a 2%, 3% edge in baseball, you just do it. You don't think about how it hurts the TV product, that it takes a star pitcher out of a game. Can you imagine in the NFL if you had a 1% advantage over the course of a year in getting 2 more first downs per game and half a point a game over the season if it was determined that you pulled your starting quarterback with 5 minutes to go in the third quarter, that you'd on the season average 1.5 more first downs a game and half a point. You'd say to yourself, oh, you would do it. No, you wouldn't in football. Part of the drama and the fun in football, and part of what's been lost in baseball, you go to the bullpen. If the analytics say pull the starter, it doesn't matter if he's pitching well. It's 6 1/3. It's arm fatigue. He's out. And in football, you just play a star quarterback even if he's struggling, right? You just do. And I think the sport of football, tonight's a prime example of you had a mismatch. Giants are a lot of injuries to deal with, beat up a little bit. This was not your classic star quarterback, average quarterback. San Francisco is really the only team in the league that is a Super Bowl contender and doesn't have what's considered like a high-end quarterback. But, as I was thinking about this today I watched this game until the very end tonight. Why? It wasn't competitive. And I think a lot of it is you play your stars, you play your starters. If they're healthy, they play. You don't pull them out because of analytics. You don't pull them out because of weather. You don't rest people just because. You watch this game tonight, and Christian McCaffrey is running that football in the fourth quarter. And over the course of a season, he doesn't need those extra 6-7 carries. And Deebo Samuel's getting hammered, and George Kittle is getting hammered until the very end. And I think like the NFL, even though this was a 10.5 point spread, it really never felt in the second half like it was going to be competitive. You're just waiting to see if the 49ers hold on and cover, right? But I think one of the great things about football is not only the urgency, but it is a great television show. And the stars play beginning, middle, end. It doesn't matter how much you lead by. Kittle's getting the ball. Debo's getting the ball. McCaffrey's getting the ball. Brock Purdy's going to stay in the game. And I find it to be just a really good television product. That's not to say that baseball doesn't have its moments, but you pull starting pitchers because of pitch counts, even if they're pitching well, right? And tonight is like the power of the NFL to me. Not really competitive, 10.5 point spread. At halftime, it felt like, the Giants could not run the football. Daniel Jones trailing without one of his better young receivers either available or playing many snaps. No chance to win that game. But it held me, and that's the power of football. I think there's not a ton I take away from a game like this. Brock Purdy, it was obvious the game plan, put some pressure on him, but what he does is what people have complained about Justin Fields. He sees it and lets it rip. A couple of times they put like 10 guys in the box near the goal line, and he just got rid of it. He didn't hold it. He sees it, lets it go, and he delivers it accurately. And that's just a big component to this game. So I think Brock Purdy, I don't think anybody watches him and thinks big arm, great athlete. But there are these systems. Miami and San Francisco are the two greatest examples. Get that ball, see the field, and let it go. And if there's pressure, live for another down. Let it go. And I think Tua and Brock Purdy are very similar that way. Not big physical presence, not big arms, not wildly mobile, but those coaches, Mike McDaniel and Kyle Shanahan, see what they are. Great distributors. I was always a Chris Paul fan, the point god. I always liked distribution first, scoring second. Chris could give you 28 points. He could go on a streak, but Chris would defend, Chris would lead, Chris would set up others, little fall away, behind the back move he does with one hand, and gets that little fall away at the free throw angle. And I think that's what Brock Purdy and Tua do. Now, both have incredible weapons. I said this last week. I'd sign up for a Dolphins-49ers Super Bowl today. I would take it to the bank. I think there's only 3 teams in the league right now that are really playing great football: San Francisco, Miami, and Dallas. Everybody else, Philadelphia's got a little bit of an identity crisis. Baltimore's a little banged up. I think everybody else is just Buffalo. They got to clean up their offense, and please, they have to establish a run game consistently. I think Kansas City's scary because they're not playing well, and they still went down to Jacksonville and hammered the Jags, and that defense is going to be the best Patrick Mahomes has had as a pro. So tonight, didn't take much out of it, but the fact that game held me, I was never bored. I was totally into it. There's also the fantasy football component to it, but stars play to the end. Nobody's pulling a starter. And that's what I love about this game. Let's go to Chad Millman, Sharper Square. Time for another week of the Vlted Challenge. We're excited to use the Vlted app, spelled VLTED. It's a place where you can store your sports predictions, participate in cash prize pools without any entry fee, none. Download the app, join Colin Cowherd Week 3 pool for a chance to win $2,500 in cash prizes. Again, it's totally free to join the pool. All you have to do is answer the questions, risk confidence points on each prediction for a chance to win, and walk away with some serious cash, some real lettuce. Congratulations to last week's winner, Kenny Williams. Way to go, Kenny! Won $2,000 after finishing in first place. This week, first place takes home $2,000 again. Make sure to join the Week 3 pool. Remember, Vlted offers free pools with cash prizes every single day. All right, let's bring in J-Mac, Jason McIntyre, for another week of the Vlted Challenge. Remember, you can prove you're smarter than your friends by using the Vlted Challenge feature. Last week, I proved once again I'm smarter than J-Mac, improved to 2-0 on the season. We split our 6 challenges, but I won all the big ones to finish 7 units ahead. After 2 weeks, I'm up 11 units on the season. Jason is down 11. Okay, the first 1 to 50 will win the Vlted Challenge. I have already made my predictions for week 3, and Jason wants to challenge my predictions. He disagrees with. So here we go. Broncos at the Dolphins. Tyreek Hill, I predict, will have less than 84.5 receiving yards. I won 5 units going against Tyreek Hill last week. I'm risking 5 units again this weekend. Why do you accept my Vlted Challenge?
Bounce back time, baby. I think Tyreek Hill has a monster game. Colin, we saw what happened last week with Washington, right? They did not throw at Patrick Surtain. He's very good. They picked on the kid Mathis. He got shredded. I think McDaniel puts him in a torture chamber, especially if Waddle comes out of concussion protocol and plays. Like, we've seen McDaniel scheme Tyreek Hill up all over the place to take advantage of that unique speed. I don't think Denver can slow Tyreek down. I think he bounces back with a monster game, and he'll make you look bad.
All right, next up, Saints at the Packers. I predict Jordan Love will have more passing yards than Derek Carr. I'm going to risk 4 units here. Carr's averaging 180 yards passing in his last 3 road games and struggled against Carolina. It was an amazing Chris Olave catch up the left sidelines, which is the best catch I've seen in the NFL since the one-hander. It was an insane catch up the left sideline. So, Jason, why did you accept my Vlted Challenge?
Well, I don't know. I cannot dangle with anything involving Jordan Love until I know the status of Watson and Aaron Jones. Like, who's he passing to, right? I mean, it's one thing to take advantage of the Falcons, but this Saints defense through 2 weeks looks like one of the best units in the league. I think they put pressure on Love. Remember, he hasn't had a turnover yet. And coming off that game where they had no first downs in the fourth quarter, I think Love put some pressure on himself. I like Derek Carr to have a bigger game. I think Love struggles a bit for the first time, and I think you lose the units there.
All right, Steelers next up at Raiders Sunday night. I'm going to predict Jimmy Garoppolo is going to have more passing yards than Kenny Pickett. I mean, the Steelers can't even get into the red zone. Now, it is San Francisco and Cleveland's defense, but I'm going to risk just 2 units on this one. Matt Canada, the OC's been under fire all week. That's been a distraction. Why do you accept my Vlted Challenge?
Yeah, I think it's because the Raiders defense that they're playing, they're just laying everybody back, saying, we'll give you anything you want underneath. Pickett hasn't had that. There's no layups against the Niners, and the Browns were all over him. I think Pickett's able to find Pickens and Freiermuth, even the running back coming out of the backfield, Najee Harris or Warren. There's going to be a lot of opportunity through the air here. And I do believe Pickett gets right. And listen, let's be real. If Matt Canada cannot get Pickett right, they probably leave Matt Canada in Vegas here over the weekend and head back to Pittsburgh without him because he's been terrible.
Okay, next up, I predict Trevor Lawrence, Jacksonville Jaguars quarterback, will have more passing yards than C.J. Stroud, who I think the game will be competitive. Houston can be competitive in division. Laramie Tunsil will play. That helps at left tackle. I'll risk 3 units. Why do you accept, Jason, my Vlted Challenge?
Well, mostly because I've been hammering C.J. Stroud on the herd, and you seem to love the guy. I start digging into the numbers. Colin, they were down 31-10, getting thumped last week before the fourth quarter stat padding happened, and I think the same thing happens here. I think Trevor Lawrence and company bounce back strong after the KC game. And I think Stroud in garbage time is stacking yards. I like Travis Etienne here to have a big game for Jacksonville on the ground. So I'll go with Stroud over Lawrence.
So there are our predictions for week 3. They are now locked into the Vlted app. If you want to prove you're smarter than friends, download the Vlted app, use the challenge feature. Make sure to enter the Colin Cowherd week 3 pool. Okay, not only do you have a chance to beat me, but it's totally free and you have a chance to win up to $2,000. Remember, Vlted is spelled VLTED, and the QR code is right on the screen. Good luck.